Thanks for joining me today. So I've recently had a little request from one of my YouTube followers for a Euronymph pattern. So today we're going to be tying, it's just a wee olive nymph, probably up there in my top 5 patterns. I would use it quite a lot. So let's get started. The hook I have in the vise is a Fasna F420 size 12, and the bead I have on is copper 3.5 slotted tungsten. So the idea with the slotted beads is, one way they don't sit, well, they sit sort of like a conventional gold head, but the other way, if you turn it the other way around, it'll sit over the top of your eye, which when the fly is being fished, it should fish inverted. We can just about make that out in the video upside down. Helps stop the point from snagging on branches or stones and below the water. Right, let's get started. The thread I'm going to be using today is olive dun N80 uni thread. So we'll just catch on in behind the bead, just a few turns building up, just to secure the bead, stop it wobbling about, and then we'll work our way down pretty much to where the bend starts, maybe slightly before. I'll do this here, trim off our waist. Now for the tail, I'm going to be using some ringneck pheasant tail. Now this is dyed yellow, but because it's dyed over a darker colour, it's kind of like a light olive. So we'll just peel out, probably for a size 12, maybe 8, 9 fibres, line them up and pluck them off. So for the length of the tail, looking roughly the length of the shank. I see a wee broken fibre in there. I'm just going to take it out. There we go, peel that back. So yep, the shank minus the bead will go for the length of our tail. So you just pinch it down, flip over and tighten in. Yep. And then we'll take our thread up, trim off our waist. It's quite a quick little pattern to tie. It's kind of what you want when you're going down the route of river flies, things that are pretty easy to replace if you lose them. If you lose half a dozen flies a session, you don't want to spend the next evening replacing everything. You know, you want to be able to bash them out in an hour or so. So I'm going to tie in a rib here, which is Semperfli, light gold, but it's probably more of a copper colour, 0.2 mil. Just catch it on my side and bring it down just to where we tied our tail in. Yeah. Now, in addition to that, I'm also going to add some pearl opal, or opal mylar, sorry, small. So we'll just take off about 4 inches of that if it's only for one fly. We'll still leave enough, plenty left over. So because it's a flat mylar, you don't really need to catch it in or take it all the way back up to the bead. Just a few wraps to secure that down. Now for my body, I have some Bann Supernatural Dubbin and what was it? Bright Peter Green. I really like this colour. Seems to work quite well for nymphs. So we'll dub on just a thin Dubbin noodle. Maybe stick on a little bit more towards the bottom just to help the taper. Dub it on nice and tight. There we go. Sometimes it takes a bit of working with. So tight turns, building our body up as we go. Obviously the taper your Dubbin lip will help thicken the body as you're going along. Now at this stage we take our Mylar rib and counterwind it. so the opposite way to your thread. Open turns, just creating a few segments. There we go, a couple of turns there, and we'll catch it off. 3 turns just to secure it down and trim off our waste. Pull some of them fibres back just to tidy them up. And now we're going to bring our copper wire up in the same direction as our thread, which also helps to lock in our mylar, which can be brittle, so it just helps you get a few extra fish out of it. You know, you don't want to spend the time tying flies, although it's a quick tie, but to catch 2 fish and your mylar's ripped, probably will still take a few more fish, you know, but it's just not nice to see, you know, your time that you've spent on it, you know, just disappear. I suppose it hasn't lasted as long as you would expect. So we've brought our copper wire up, tied it down, worried it off. At this point I'm just going to whip finish off that thread. Now there's 2 reasons I whip finish at this point. The first one is I'm going to change to a different colour thread. The second is, if you were fishing it and you noticed after a few fish that your thorax had gave way, you know, rather than the whole fly starting to unravel, if it's whip finished there, basically you can stick it in your box, stick on a new fly, and then whenever you get home that evening, a couple of minutes I'll add another thorax rather than have to replace the whole fly. Now for a thorax I have some Peacock Dubbin and olive from Veniards, but there's hundreds of different types of dubbin you can use. Synthetic dubbins, you know, chop and change the colours, see what works for you, what works best in the river you're fishing. Now maybe just add a little bit more of that. So I'm going to try and keep the thorax quite small on this. I want to dub it relatively tight. There we go. It's not too bad there. So I'm going to go for 2 or 3 turns, and then I'm going to go into a hidden whip finish which should hide our thread. There we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically you're using your dubbin noodle to hide your thread, which if I was using an olive fly, or an olive thread, sorry, that's the kind of finish you would get. You wouldn't see any thread at all. Now the reason I changed to the orange thread is I would like to finish it with an orange head. So I'm just going to add a few more wraps. And again, now if you want it to finish with the orange thread, the hidden whip finish would be optional. Obviously it adds another whip finish to the fly, makes it that bit more durable. So we'll whip finish off here and trim our thread off. So basically that's the 2 variations of that fly that I would use. I would use it fairly regularly, either with or without the orange head. Now just because I'm finished, or as I'm finished, I'm just going to rough it up a little bit with a Velcro. Not too much. I like quite buggy nymphs. There we go. It's not too bad. I'll pull down. If you think anything's too long or you're not really happy about maybe something sticking forward, you can trim it off. But reason to be happy with that, you just add my varnish, and that's the fly complete. So I hope you enjoyed that. Very quick video, easy to tie. Catches plenty of fish for me. Hopefully if you have a go at it, it'll catch plenty for you. Would just like to say thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate it, and I have noticed now since I've started doing a few more videos, I've definitely picked up a lot more subscribers, and I really appreciate that as well. So again, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully you catch a few fish on that.